where voting for crucial Bangladesh polls is now underway. It is a contest that pits Tariq Rahman's BNP against the Jamaat alliance, while the Awami League remains completely barred from contesting. Opinion polls, meanwhile, place the BNP as the front-runner in this high-stakes battle. Jamaat, meanwhile, says the public wants real political reform, promising credible and transparent polls and insisting that there will be no second-class citizens in Bangladesh. On the other hand, Sheikh Hasina's son, Sajeeb Wazed, has in fact dismissed the election as a sham, warning of extremism and even calling for a boycott at that time. Amid this political showdown, concerns from minorities are all growing sharper. Community leaders say the situation for Hindus still remain worrying, warning that the fear and threats could even keep voters away from polling booths.
Bangladesh has begun voting in its historic elections. The parliament elections are underway right now to the 300-seat parliament. We are here at one of the polling stations in capital Dhaka, and we'll show you the kind of scenes that we are witnessing early in the morning. Polling has begun from 7:30 a.m. in the morning in Bangladesh, and since morning we are seeing, handsome turnout at polling stations, at least in Dhaka, with a lot of participation of women as well as youngsters. Youngsters, of course, make a significant part of the 12 crore, voters who will be exercising their franchise in these significant parliamentary elections in Bangladesh. And security has been tightened across Bangladesh. There is the army, the air force, the navy, the border guards Bangladesh, who have been deployed in large numbers, lakhs of them, security personnel who are right now deployed to maintain law and order across 42,000 polling stations in Bangladesh. You can see the bodyguards Bangladesh personnel who have now been deployed. So all eyes on these elections. There are thousands of international observers, hundreds of international journalists who are witnessing these elections because they are historic. In a sense, they are happening almost 2 years after regime change in Bangladesh, ever since the July students' revolution that took place 2 years back in August 2024.
Now, India Today interacted with Sheikh Hasina's son, Sajeeb Wazed, who called these polls a complete sham. Let's listen in to that exclusive conversation.
What are your thoughts on these elections that are taking place tomorrow? Bangladeshi community, especially in the US, that we've talked to, are not particularly happy about how things are panning out in Bangladesh. What are your thoughts?
These are completely a sham election. The reality is, of course, they've officially banned the Awami League, which is the oldest and largest party. It led the independence movement, so people have a soft corner for it. Historically, Awami League has won 30-40% of the vote, always. But unofficially, there's a ban on all progressive parties. So the third largest political party in Bangladesh, Jatiya Party, is not officially banned, but many of their leaders are behind bars. Their offices have been burnt down. Many of their leaders' homes have been burnt down, and they have not been allowed to campaign. They have not been allowed to hold public meetings. They have not been allowed to conduct any activity, really. So it's really a one-sided election where the other major party, BNP, is being allowed to run, and the Islamist party, who typically only had 5-10% of the vote, they're essentially being given an open field to play against, so that they gain an outside number of seats in parliament, far more than they would in a real election.
Is there a concern, especially given their history and their record, that this could give rise to Islamic extremism, not only in Bangladesh, but also in the West? I mean, we've seen how those people operate. I mean, are you concerned at all that by having them in power, it could basically serve as a dangerous precedent, essentially, and there could be something that could also happen in the West that could probably trace back its roots to Bangladesh?
Absolutely, and that has already started under this regime. You see, the Yunus regime and the revolution, or the you call it, was really backed by the Islamists. You had the student protests, and when the Islamists saw an opportunity, they jumped in behind the protests, armed, started attacking the police, killing police. And so they, the Yunus regime was brought in by Jamaat and propped up by Jamaat. So in one of the very first acts of this regime was to release all convicted terrorists from prison. These were terrorists that our government had arrested and convicted over 17 years. These included the killers of the bloggers, that we had a spate of those in Bangladesh. These included the killers of the US Embassy local staff that happened. These included the perpetrators, the terrorists that carried out the largest terrorist attack on foreigners in Bangladesh, which was the Holey Artisan Bakery attack in 2016. All of them were released from prison by the Yunus regime. You have had Al-Qaeda and Asia operatives that are known to intelligence agencies operate freely in Bangladesh in the last year and a half. You've had Harkat al-Jihad holding public rallies openly. And you've had LET commanders from Pakistan go to Bangladesh, speak at public events openly during this regime. So nothing's going to change. Terrorists have a free reign in Bangladesh now, and that will continue with Jamaat being in government.